What's up YouTube? Dale here from Zephyr War Games, and today I am bringing you a very spicy concoction of Dark World illusions. So this involves a very small illusion engine that actually unlocks a couple of different fusion plays and can help you consistently, even more so, get into your Grepher Dragon without needing to directly search off of snow. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. If you get the video above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, I will bring you a test and video as well, so you can see how this engine operates within the deck. So with all of that out of the way, let's dive head first into the profile. I'll explain the illusions a little bit more when we get to it and the different synergies that it shares with the deck. So we start off with, again, pretty standard lineup of triple snow alongside triple rainbow and triple genta. Like, I don't ever really change these in any of my lineups, and also double Grepher. Like, this pretty much all stays the same. I still like the one gold, the one silver, the one cerulean. Because I'm not playing the Unchained package in this version, I'm not playing Lucian, because I'm not going for the rank 6 plays, but you could do if you wanted to. And what I quite liked about the Unchained play is going into Yama then gave you the ability to get into the Link free, and 9 out of 10 you're giving your own opponent a cerulean. So if you wanted to get the cerulean off the board and still get advantage from it, you could then use your Link off. What the Chimera engine, or like the Illusion engine, also helps you do is this helps you do the hand loop on a budget of the full 5 cards by the end phase, because the Chimera King and the Phantom Beast has a really cool effect that during the turn it is summoned, you get to activate the effect. You randomly send one card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard during the end phase of the turn. Now the idea is that you would have looped silver at least twice. It means they've only got 1 card left, and rather than giving them the chance to top deck a card and have 2 cards to play with, you're actually ripping that last card away from them. In the other version, you were using stuff like thrusts and talents to do that, but I've actually cut them out to make this a little bit more budget friendly. I know that this card has now gone back up in price. It dropped like a $5, but now apparently it's around about £18. But it's just really kind of a cool, different alternative. I'm still playing the one Diabolica. I still really like it. I'm still debating between the Laws and trade-ins. In this version, I've gone with the Laws over the trade-ins, but I still really like the utility of being able to get this out for free, trying to get yourself into the coach trainer, and then drawing off the back of that. The dangers are pretty standard as well, so double Mothman, double Nessie, which is why I don't want to spend like forever just on this section. So Bigfoot, Jackalope, Thunderbird, and Chupacabra, you've seen these all before. Catalyzer, and then Zephyros the Elite. Now moving into the new engine. So the new engine is double Cornfield Kotal and double Mirror Sword. Now the reason I've gone with 2 and 2 rather than a 3 and a 1 or anything else like that is the idea is that you kind of want to see Kotal. You want to see Kotal to discard to get to your Mirror Knight. You're not going to be using any other normal summon in this deck apart from the Mirror Knight unless you absolutely have to. Like, your idea is that you've got 4 copies of Mirror Knight in the deck. You can make it more consistent if you wanted to. You can put in 3 Kotals, you can put in 3 swords and 3 Kotals. You can go up to a maximum of 6. But the idea is that either get into Kotal just to give you that targeted protection in the graveyard to get to your Mirror Sword is a little bit better. I did consider a 3 Kotal and 1 Sword Knight, but I was like, all right, let's go with a 2 and 2, because at least I can resolve this twice in a duel if I need to. So for those of you that don't know, the Kotal has an effect that you can discard it to add a monster that mentions Chimera Fusion in its text from the deck to the hand. So I can search out the Mirror Sword, but I can also search out the one Gazelle if I wanted to. I'll get to Gazelle in a second. On top of that as well, it does have a really cool graveyard effect that while you control Chimera, the flying mythical beast, which both of the fusion monsters become on the field or in the graveyard, you do get that ability to, when an opponent activates a card effect that targets a card or cards you control, you then get to banish this card from the graveyard and negate it. So that's really kind of cool because it gives you targeted protection from stuff like imperms and everything else. The Mirror Knight has the best effect of all of them, in my opinion. So if this card battles an opponent's monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. Quick effect, so during either player's turn, tribute this card to special summon 1 monster from your deck that mentions Chimera Fusion except itself. Now, usually 9 out of 10, you're only going to resolve that part once because you're going to get into your Gazelle, and then the Gazelle is going to get you the Chimera Fusion. You could play the 1 Baphomet if you wanted to, or the Big Win Baphomet technically, but the issue with this is when it's summoned, you're locked into fusion summoning for the rest of the turn. So it means if you're playing IP, you can't link off. If you play it during your turn, you can't link at all. So it's not really ideal, which is why I've gone with a 2 and 2 and a 1, rather than anything else. So this one has the really cool effect that when a monster your opponent controls activates his effect while you control Chimera, the flying mythical beast. Quick effect, you get to banish this card from the field or graveyard to negate that effect. So that's something a lot of people will forget as well, which is really kind of cool. So they'll forget that both of these exist, and then when they try and activate something, you'll be able to banish it and then protect, or banish it and then negate, which is really cool. And then of course we've got the one Gazelle and we've got the one Chimera Fusion. You could play Gazelle at more if you wanted to, but ideally you kind of want to get this off of the knight. You don't really want to be normal summoning this if you can avoid it. And the reason I don't like normal summoning that is because I want to go through Kotal into knight into this, because then I kind of deck thin a little bit as well. Not to mention this can be done during either player's turn. So there's normal specials. You can add a level 5 Fiend monster, so it can directly search out silver or gold if you wanted it to. Or you can add one Chimera Fusion, which is what you're going to be going for more times than not. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, so it doesn't matter what one as long as it is used as a fusion summon, you get to add an illusion monster from your deck to the hand. So you can search out a Kotal, which means you can depth in for the next turn. You're kind of regaining your hand advantage and everything else. The reason this is so good to get to Chimera Fusion is Chimera Fusion is during the main phase as a quick play spell card. Fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a beast or fiend monster. So it doesn't need to be specifically one of these. You can use any of your Dark Worlds, meaning that this can actually get you into your Grepher Fusion if you wanted to. Another thing you can get into is a Guardian Chimera, and this is definitely something they're not going to expect in a Dark World deck. So being able to pop cards, draw cards, you name it, is going to be incredibly invaluable with a Guardian Chimera. If that wasn't enough as well, during the main phase, if this card's in the graveyard and you have Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast on the field or in the graveyard, you get to either add this card back to the hand, or you can banish this card and special summon one Gazelle, King of Mythical Beasts, and a Baphomet from the deck and or graveyard. Now obviously we're just going to be able to loop this back, but the idea is that the first summon you make off of this is going to go into your Chimera King. That's going to help you get the hand loop. Then you're going to add this back to the hand so that you can set it so that during your opponent's turn, you can upgrade your Chimera King into either Chimera the Illusion Beast, or you can go into a Guardian Chimera. Or if you are unable to get a session, you can also go into the Grepher Dragon Overlord of the Dark World. You just won't be able to discard or get the effects of the Dark World, so that's one thing you do need to remember. Moving on to the rest of the spells, I've now gone back into Triple Drag Down. The reason I've gone with Triple Drag Down is because I feel that a lot of people are saying, well, if you're so worried about draw and everything else like that, this is obviously risk and reward. But because my normal summon is being used up with the Illusion Engine, I can't really play Tour Guide or anything like that. Whereas Drag Down's great, because not only does it give you hand knowledge of your opponent, and you don't mind giving your hand knowledge to your opponent, because the chances are you're going to rip through your entire hand and draw a whole fresh one by the time it gets round to you anyway. The idea of activating Drag Down is you want to be activating it when you've got cards in your hand, and every single one of them will get an advantage if they discard it, which means they'll just choose the one that will give you the least advantage. But at the end of the day, if you've got your hand stacked with everything you need, it doesn't really make much of a difference. So you'll get hand knowledge, you'll know what to play around. I mean, if you see their hand and they've got two draws, you just go, well, cool, that sucks a little bit, but it is what it is. Then two Allures, easy to be trading. You can cut the Allures if you want to. It's a 42 card deck, cut it down to 40, entirely up to you. I'm still on the two Gates of the Dark World. We're obviously not playing any of the Fiends of the Illusion cards because the only Fiend is the Baphomet, so you don't really get any additional draw synergy off of the back of this, but it's still kind of a cool option to have as well. And then we've got the one Archives, the one, a Session, the one Corridor. I've still only owned one Corridor. I would probably definitely be playing it at 2 if I had the second copy available to me. So that's definitely something to be mentioned, especially without playing Thrusts or Talents. So there's no way of setting this directly from the deck or getting to it early access. And then the one card destruction, because if you open this and you're not facing tier elements, this card is broken as hell in this deck. So yeah, as you can see, what I've basically taken out is I've taken out stuff like Thrust, I've taken out stuff like Lava Golems, Talents, Trade-ins, Lucians, you name it. I've tried to make it a little bit more budget friendly as well. So when you're looking at Thrust and Talents, you're probably looking at Thrust being at £50 each. So that's £100 that's already come out of the deck, making it a heck of a lot cheaper as well. And then the £100, you can actually spread the cost around, and I reckon you're only going to be putting like another £50 back in, and then you're still up 50 quid if you're not playing Thrust. So moving on to the extra deck, we'll start with the Fusion. So obviously you're going to go with your 3 Chimeras, one being the King of Phantom Beasts. So this requires a Beast monster and a Fiend monster, so very easy to make because obviously your Gazelle will get you to your Chimera Fusion, and then your Chimera Fusion can use a Fiend, being any of your Dark World cards, and then of course your Beast to get into this. Obviously, its name becomes Chimera the Flying Mythical Beast while on the field or in the graveyard, and you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If it's Fusion Zone, you get to activate this effect. You send a random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard during the end phase of this turn. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard to target a Beast, Fiend, or Illusion monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So the best thing about that is as long as this is in your graveyard, it's a Fiend, and as long as it's been successfully summoned, this can technically bring it back. We've then got the one Chimera, the Illusion Beast. You don't have to play this, it's entirely optional. But this requires Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, and any one or more Illusion monsters. Each card name becomes Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast while on the field or in the graveyard, and it can attack a monster, opponent's monsters up to the number of times with different materials used for this each battle phase. So basically, if you're using Chimera, Flying Mythical Beast, plus one Illusion monster, it can attack twice. If this card battles an opponent's monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. But at the end of the damage step, if it did battle an opponent's monster, you change that opponent's attack to 0 and negate its effects. And then you're going to get a free 3100 swing into it directly as well. Then of course we've got the Guardian Chimera. I've already kind of mentioned this one, but like being able to either draw 2, pop 1, or pop 2, draw 1 can be very, very important. Especially if your opponent is running around with stuff like Dark Rulers and they're going to Dark Ruler your board so your Grepher becomes useless. Not only can you Accession to change up your Grepher so you get that negate back, but you can now also Chimera Fusion to get into a Guardian Chimera to pop and draw and pretty much set yourself up for the follow-up turn. 2 Grepher Fusions, pretty standard on that one. And then for the links, I've gone with the Underworld Goddess, Saruja, Appaloosa. These can be any ones you want. Like you can pretty much make these Nightmare Griffin if you want to go down that route. You can go for the Unchained engine, which would be Yama, the Link 3 and the Link 4. Entirely up to you. Unicorn, Akashic, Cross Sheep. Now it's got more fusion targets to be able to then trigger to revive from the graveyard. And so bringing back a Kotal or a Mirror Sword Knight. You've also got rank 4 materials if you need it. IP Masquerina, Muckracker, Degeles, and then of course Coach King Giant Trainer. So all pretty straightforward on the lineup from this. You can adapt it, change it, like personalize it as you want. You could very easily put in the triple-headed Dracus Depelia because that can come off the Chimera Fusion as well. You can also bring in Dracus Depelia because then you'll get a nice little negate on top of that. So it's entirely up to you on how fusion-based you want to make it, how link-based you want to make it. If you want to go more XYZ, if you want to go rank 8, you name it, you can adapt it, which is really kind of cool. I just thought it was a nice option to kind of show you that the illusion cards are definitely worth picking up, and I said this even when they first come out, not just specifically for Dark Worlds, but now I've looked at them with Dark Worlds, I'm like, yo, if you weren't picking these up now, I'd definitely go and do so, because this deck's super fun. And works out quite nicely. I do like the synergy between it, like the fact that you can just get direct access to your level 5 fiends if you wanted to, but then also being able to utilize your fiends off of the back of a Chimera Fusion and be able to revive them with your Chimera King of the Phantom Beast is a really kind of cool loophole that I think works really nicely in the deck and the overall strategy behind it as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like I said at the start of the video, if you would like to see a test and video for this particular build, make sure you smash that like button, get it above 50 likes in the first 24 hours, we'll unlock that for you. But for now, thank you so much for watching. As absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.